This is 7 News High School Red Zone Review Preview.
We welcome you into the show as October winds down and we're rolling into the final regular season night in the high school red zone. It is week 10 on the South Carolina calendar. It'll be week 11 in the high school red zone and in North Carolina as schools size up their playoff positioning. And coming up on Friday night on the Palmetto State side of things, 6 games will decide region championships. That's quite a bunch to determine who will be the champion and also the #1 seed coming out of various regions. But let's look back to last week, which was week number 10 of the high school red zone. Region 2-5A, Gaffney trying to stay unbeaten, set up a championship game against an Idle Burns team. Bryce McNeil and Trayvon Fernandez getting together with their Dorman team trailing 13-0 second quarter. Got on the board. Riley Staten, though, to Drew Medley just before the half. Gaffney led 20-7 at the break. Third quarter, Dorman with Fernandez on the receiving end from O'Neill. They get within 9 of Gaffney, but last play of the third, Staten, nice run, gets to the end zone, huge touchdown, and Gaffney makes it 5 in the past 7 against Dorman, rolling on to a 29-14 victory. The Tribe getting to 7-2, 3-0, and keeping themselves in line with that win for a winner-take-all battle with Burns.
You know, our kids gutted it out, thought they played well. We got behind the chains a few times first half, got to quit doing that, but you know, we moved the ball pretty good offensively tonight and our defense played sound again, so I'm real proud of those guys.
And a Dorman team that with that loss fell to 3-6 and 1-2. They get set to take on their rival Spartanburg. Vikings were trying for a first win in the region, off to an 0-2 start and taking on Boiling Springs. Score was 24-10 at that stage in the second half. Quez Smith, though, able to get it off the blocked punt for the touchdown. Boiling Springs defense later, though, with JoJo Barrett stripping it. Cohen Sloan able to come up with it. Bulldogs denying the Vikings there, and then a desperate heave and a tight game late, and it's knocked away by Boiling Springs. They're up by 7, and that's what they win by, 24-17. They snap a 3-game skid against the Vikings and have now won 7 of the past 10 matchups with Spartanburg. Meanwhile, Daniel and Pendleton played for the Region 1-3A championship. Lions have dominated the series just as they've dominated opponents in recent seasons, trying for a 16th straight win. Jakari Bennett made it 7-0 in the opening quarter. Daniel, they're up 14-0. Luke Gray intercepted for just the second time on the season. Tremaine Davis turned it into a pick 6. Daniel was off and rolling, up 21-0. Gray later to Abijah Webb to get Pendleton back in the game, 21-7. Later on, though, Lions leading by 14 in the second quarter. Bennett end zone again. Daniel rolling on to the win. A Lions team that's now won 45 of its past 46. They continue to cruise along, and that wrapped up the region championship for Jeff Rooster's team.
This Pendleton team is very formidable, and they're going to give some people some problems down the road. But I was very proud of the way our kids fought. They played assignment football, and we knew that's what it was going to come down to, was playing assignment football. They did a great job of bending but not breaking with what Pendleton was able to do. So happy for the stop that they got today and securing that championship.
And Pendleton's last 2 losses have come against the past 2 3A Upper State champs, early in the year against Powdersville and then last Friday against Daniel. Lions 9-0, 4-0. Pendleton 7-2 and 3-1. Meanwhile, Walhalla and Seneca battling. Seneca had won 33 straight since 1980 going into the game, and at home they were looking to pick up a victory, get them back over 500. You saw the sack Shaki Jojen right there. Later on, Elias McGee with a nice return. That didn't amount to much. Walhalla later comes back. Tanner Lowry hooks up with Whit Austin. It set up a touchdown. And Walhalla, what a great win for Chris Stone's team in the first season with the new head coach, winning 28-19. First win for the Hogs against the Bobcats since all the way back in 1979. It was the 4th win of the year for Walhalla overall. Region 2-3A, Belton Honeypath looking to continue its unbeaten start, 8-0 going in, 3-0 in the region. Southside winless, trying to avoid a first winless campaign since 1981. Marquez Henderson, 60 yards. Another big night for him and the running game for BHP. Noah Thomas later hooks up with Quay Alexander on a 40-yard connection. BHP cruising on. 8 straight wins since 1996, and the last time they lost to Southside was 1975. Bears unbeaten, getting ready for a region championship game in Region 2-3A. On the other side of that battle, coming up Friday night in the high school red zone, will be Wren, as the Hurricanes looking to get to 4-0 in the region in the white on the road at their rival Powdersville. And Reese Price into the end zone for the score, gave his team a 14-7 lead. Eli Hudgens later with the touchdown to pull his team within one for Powdersville. But Seth Hickerson, 80-yard return in the ensuing kickoff. Back and forth battle, eventually Wren going on to the victory, their 4th in 9 meetings against their district rivals. They pull it out 42-39. Clinton was looking to put the wraps on Region 4-3A and knock off visiting Chester. Red Devils looking for a 7th win on the year. Jalen Massey the touchdown, and Clinton goes on to the win. A Chester team that was averaging 34 points a game is contained. 14-6 your final score. Westside, which is playing for a 2nd straight Thursday this evening as they're battling Berea, played last Thursday on their homecoming game against Easley. And Cutter Woods to Josh Williams for the 9-yard touchdown, gave them the early 7-0 advantage. Westside went on to the victory to get to 4-0 in the region and wrap up the title in Region 1-4A, 63-35. They improved to 8-1 on the year, and they've won 10 in a row against Easley. And again, the Rams right now playing Berea this evening, and at last check they had a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. Meanwhile, other Region 1-4A action, Greenville still playing for a 2nd seed and able to secure it with their game against Greenwood. A dominant performance. Bryson Drummond and crew, with MJ Bennett taking the handoff, gets into the end zone, put the Red Raiders up 48-0 on the road in the 3rd quarter, and they cruise past the Eagles. So Greenville, having lost 4 of 5 going in, gets the huge win 48-7 over Greenwood. The Berea team that's playing tonight was able to get into the win column for just the 2nd time this season. Last Friday, Matt Davis off the handoff for the Bulldogs touchdown, and they roll over Pickens, snapping a 6-game losing streak against the Flame. Despite that Carter McCollum touchdown, Pickens couldn't pull it out. They fall by 3 at Berea, 28-25. Region 1-5A, Hannah was among the teams that wrapped up its regular season last week. They already had clinched the championship in their region. They were trying to make it 14-0 all-time against Woodmont. Jordan Sink has it picked by Kylan Groves. A pick 6 for Groves and an early 7-0 advantage as the ball took a couple of bounces before it landed in Groves' hands. Katie Patterson later on, 78-yard touchdown run. Hannah now gets ready for the playoffs at 9-1 overall. The Region 1-5A champs putting it on Woodmont 64-25. Hillcrest trying to secure 2nd place in the region. A series against their rival Malden tied at 34 apiece for Avery McFadden. And the Rams, Hillcrest going for a 16th win in the last 17 in the series. You saw Caleb Sutton hook up with Weston Willis and Thomas Stanley for an early touchdown. 6-0 lead after a fumble on the ensuing cook-off. It's Stanley taking it to the house. 2-point conversion was good. Hillcrest going on to the win to improve to 8-1 and 2-1. Malden at 0-9 will have to beat Woodmont Friday night in the high school red zone to avoid a first winless season since 1998. Region 1-2A, Abbeville trying to stay in line for another region crown and was going for a 39th straight victory in region play. DeMarcus Leach giving him an early lead at Blacksburg. Carson Norman was off to the races here. And Abbeville winning for a 7th time against no losses against Blacksburg. Panthers improved 8-1 and 5-0, and they move back into the #1 spot in 2A in the SC Prep Football Media Poll this past week. Also in Region 1-2A, 96 also trying to stay unbeaten and set up a title game against Abbeville. They were going at it against a Chesney team that's been doing some good things. Chesney trying to make something happen just before the break. Nice little connection, KJ Proctor to Hayden Webb, but 96's defense comes up big, denying the opportunity for the Eagles to get into the end zone. And 96 getting the win. What a great start for Matthew Bennett in his first season as a head coach, leading the Wildcats. They're now 8-1 and 4-0 with that 27-20 victory. So they play at Abbeville in the Lakelands on Friday night for the Region 1-2A crown. Liberty last Thursday took on Landrum, a Landrum team that had to win to stay in playoff contention. Liberty trying to get to 6 victories for the first time in a while. And Colton Link for Landrum in what was a back-and-forth game with about 3.5 to go gives them a 33-26 lead. Logan Smith then finds his brother Austin Smith, brought Liberty within 1 with about 2.5 to go. Onside kick recovered by Liberty, still down by 1. J.J. Hernandez, with 29 seconds to go, gets into the end zone, and Liberty pulls it out, snapping a 5-game skid against Landrum with the win, 40-33. Now, Region 1-1A, Christ Church looking to repeat as region champs, and they hope as 1A state champs, taking on their rivals. St. Joe's going for a 5th straight win after the Knights had controlled the series, and Tucker Hendricks hooked up with Jackson Rep to make it 28-14 in the third quarter of Christ Church. Hendricks later intercepted by St. Joe's Johnny Yarashevsky in a 14-point game. Then in the fourth quarter, Lucas Salgado going to take it into the end zone, bring St. Joe's within 7 at 28-21. And Salgado trying to get his team tied up, taken down by Luke Baumhofer of Christ Church. Hendricks then finding Jude Hall for a TD pass. Cavaliers pull away to the win to improve to 7-2 on the year, 4-0 in the region, 35-21.
Winning this game sets us up for region championship matchup against Southside Christian, and that'll be a battle, and we'll be ready, but we're going to enjoy this one and try to go win the region, which is the next goal on the goal sheet. We're beating the rival. That was the immediate goal. Now we'll move to the next one.
And that they will. An energetic head coach. Southside Christian had beaten Ware Shoals last Thursday to stay unbeaten in the region as well. So at the home of the Sabres Friday night, it'll be Quinn Hatfield and the Cavs going at it for a region crown against SCS. Region 2-4A, Greer looking to stay in the driver's seat, playing at Wade Hampton, team they had won 19 out of 20 against since 1972 going in, and Chris Hall and crew kept that streak, or that run, intact. You saw the early touchdown. Hall later hooking up with Ty Corey and Gist, and on their way to victory was Greer, getting a 4th on the season, 3-0 in the region with a 65-7 triumph. Also in Region 2-4A, Lauren's final game of the regular season against Andre Wolcock and Eastside, which built a 24-0 lead. MJ Posey saw the defense on Denari Lee Jackson, but later Josh Goodwin for Lawrence takes the dump off from Nick Danshu, turns into a 55-yard touchdown, 24-8. Calvin Banks and Eastside come back. Nice run by the running back, and then the Banks touchdown makes it a 38 game. Eastside holds on for dear life, 36-34. They improved to 5-4 on the year, 1-2 in the region. Lawrence regular season ends at 2-8 and 2-2 as they await postseason play. Other action, Chapman and Blue Ridge on the Ridge. Chapman trying for a 10th straight win against the Tigers. Coleman Gray and Max Carter getting together for the first down. Gray later on the quarterback keep. Early 8-0 advantage. He's done a great job running the ball this year as well as throwing it. And Chapman at 8-1 and now 3-0 will play for the region 3-3A title on Friday night against visiting Broome, which was idle last week. I should say, which was also looking to get unbeaten in the region last week. Chapman wins 50-21. Now Broome was trying to go to 3-0 as they took on Carolina, and they were looking to extend their winning streak to 10 in the series. Jaden McGill, sophomore, off to the races. Jalen McGill touchdown made it 28-0 Broome in the second quarter. Then Kamaje Brackett Brannon on the connection to Trayshawn Suber for a 35-0 advantage. And when it's done, Broome cruising on to the win. So we'll head into that ball game against Chapman at 8-1 and 3-0 with that triumph. Union County and Emerald in Region 4-3A. We showed you Clinton wrapping up a region crown against Chester earlier. This essentially a playoff elimination game. Quay Brannon to Jaquan Jeter on that TD connection for Union County, but Emerald able to rally and get the win. Their first of the year. Vikings take it 49-35. They are 1-8 and 1-2 as they close out the regular season against Clinton at home Friday night. Western North Carolina, 1A, 2A, Mountain Foothills, Polk County on the road against East Rutherford. And a Cavaliers team, which remember a couple of years ago, they didn't even have a season for participation issues, but there, Landon Flynn connecting with C.J. Jackson for the touchdown, 16-7 after the 2-point conversion, favor the home team. And then Flynn and Blake McClellan get together, and East Rutherford pulls away. They snap a 3-game skid against Lorenzo Sanchez and Polk County, 63-20. Polk falls to 4-5 and 3-2 with back-to-back losses in the conference. Last Thursday, Chase had its homecoming game. They had a dominant win against Patton the year before, and they wouldn't disappoint this season. A Chase team averaging 35 points a game did that and better. Cade Davis with the touchdown. Later, Zach Frazier hooks up with Dejon Murray. And when it's done, Chase with a 6th win on the season and 3rd in the conference, rolling 59-0 against visiting Patton. So that's some of the action we had for you last Friday in the high school red zone. Now we get ready for a Friday night, which, as we noted, has 6 games that will decide region championships. One of them at the reservation in Gaffney, where the Burns Rebels take on the homestanding Indians, and Todd Summers sizes up the showdown.
For Burns and Gaffney to take a good season to great, more often than not, it comes at the expense of the other.
It's a heated rivalry. It's what high school football is supposed to be. There's always something at stake. I think we played each other twice the last 5 years in a row. We got an upper hand in 18 and 19, and then last year in regular season we were able to get them here.
Friday night, the winner of one of the Upstate's great rivalries earns the outright Region 2 5A title.
To be in it right now and both of us undefeated is certainly a tough challenge. One of us is going to reap the reward and be undefeated in the region, and to me that speaks something.
While Burns freshman starting running back Trey Segura is about to experience the reservation for the first time, he welcomes the challenge.
This is definitely the biggest game I've played in so far. It's beautiful, man. Playing in that kind of environment, those kind of fans, it's the type of place I want to be.
Gaffney sophomore running back Jaden McDowell experienced a loss to the Rebels last year in the regular season, but also felt the joy of beating Burns in the postseason.
They're like us, you know, a very competitive, good team. This is a big game. It has bragging rights to it. You know, we beat them last year. You know, we got to do the same thing this year.
That's going to be a heck of a ball game. That's one of 2 games in Region 2 5A, and the other, Spartanburg's at home against Dorman. And at that contest at halftime, they'll formally dedicate the naming of the field at Vikings Stadium in honor of Doc Davis, their former head coach and winningest for the storied program, 178 victories during his run from 1990 to 2017, and 5 state titles from 1991 to 2001 for Doc Davis. What a great career he had leading the Vikings, and he'll get his just reward with Friday night's naming of the field at the Vikings home stadium, which of course opened just a few years ago. Now, among the other action and among the other region championship games will be the Broome Centurions traveling across Spartanburg County to take on Chapman. So Jayla McGill and Kamaje Brackett Brannon will try to continue what's been a dream season for Lynn Fleming's team. Those two have been a 1-2 punch on the ground. They combined to average about 300 yards rushing a game. Brackett Brannon has well over 2,000 yards of total offense. McGill, just a sophomore, already a major college prospect. And it's the kind of combination that good teams need to have that can be really difficult for the opposition to counter.
As good a players they are, it's, you know, it is tough. But again, it shows you what kind of players they have around them as well. How, you know, how good our guys are up front to continue. You know, they're trying to take these 2 guys away, but you know, our guys continue to create holes for them, and you know, it's a challenge for those guys. But you know, they step up every week.
Probably have like 3 periods where we run the ball over and over to see what holes to cut, back cut, you know, cut left and right, and I get at it, Coach Slim and Coach Former for helping us out. Me and J-Mac show us the way.
So that's a 2-headed monster for Broome. There's also a 2-headed monster on the Chapman side. We showed you Coleman Gray earlier with his running ability. When he throws it, chances are it's going to go into the hands of number 6, Sean Cunningham. Had a great career for Harry Cabinet's team. So the Coleman Gray to Sean Cunningham combo just as lethal for Chapman as the Brackett Brannon and McGill combo is for Broome. We will have extensive coverage of that game and all around the area coming up Friday night in the high school red zone, 11 o'clock on Channel 7, 11:35 on the CW62. Again, battles to be waged to decide a champion in regions and also number 1 seed. So in Region 2 5A with that Gaffney-Burns showdown in the 3A ranks, you've got Belton, Honeypath, and Wren, and also Chapman and Broome. And of course, in Region 1 2A, you've got a championship game on the line between 96 and Abbeville. And in Region 1 1A, as Southside Christian plays host to Christ Church, should all be great battles all around the area. Well, let's close out this edition of the Review Preview with a look back at the plays of the week from week number 10 in the high school red zone. And for Christ Church and their win against St. Joe's, Tucker Hendricks hooking up with Jude Hall, who had 2 defenders around him, no trouble at all. Hall, a big target. Look at the great stride as he was able to find the football with Knights on either side and take it to the house for play number 5. Play number 4, Hannah demolishing Woodmont, and Keelan Groves able to come up with what turned out to be a pick six. Ball deflected numerous times, and eventually it pops up to the guy who tipped it the first time, Groves. Only fitting. He began the destruction on the play for the Hannah defense and ends up being the guy who's the hero. Almost a strip interception, if you will, for Groves and Hannah for play number 4. Play number 3. And the Smiths got together last Thursday on this key touchdown as Liberty rallied against Landrum. Logan Smith, the QB, seemingly had nowhere to go, but eventually, they'll call it a case of brotherly love. Yeah, always look for family when you're in trouble. In that case, Logan Smith did. He found Austin Smith. It went for a big touchdown in Liberty's win and for play number 3. Play number 2, Seth Hickerson and Wren needed to get the victory against Powdersville. They did by 3 points, kept them alive to play for a region championship against BHP. 80-yard kickoff run back, taking it to the house. Seth Hickerson with that end-to-end action for play number 2. And play number 1, back to that Liberty game, and Logan Smith this time looking for another target. Kendrick Jackson, look at the play made by Jackson. Deflecting off a defender into his hands, he kept his eye on the ball. Proved to be a big play in that Liberty triumph, and Kendrick Jackson gets play number 1. By the way, Riverside's visit to Greer is also an outright championship for the region, even though Riverside's already lost a region game. If they win, they could both say they're champions, but Riverside would get the number 1 seed in Region 2 4A and get a rare win against Greer, and that would be really something for Matthew Rochester and his staff. Well, that wraps up this week's show. Of course, we will see you Friday night in the High School Red Zone at 11 o'clock on Channel 7 and 11:35 on the CW62. For now, Pete Yanity saying so long, and we'll see you soon.